Hello again, and welcome back to Subs Lie, Dubs Lie, a comprehensive anime podcast. This is your host, Jay, aka Versace Vegeta, and I'm here with my dog, my host, my brother D. How you doing, man?
What's going on, brother Jay? What's going on, people? We back at it again. New episode, and I know y'all waiting. We are here. I'm feeling lovely. I'm always hyped on the next. Anytime a new episode has to drop, man, it's probably some of the best vibes I get throughout the day. So I'm glad we here.
I look forward to this stuff every single week, and we are back with yet another one. But before we dive into this heat this week, man, I gotta say, last week felt really good because like having a sequel episode to something that we did like the previous season, it's pretty cool that we have such a long body of work that we're able to do stuff like that.
Yeah, that is raw. That is super raw, man.
You know, like knowing like, hey, you can pick up the threads in Subs Lie, Dubs Lie and kind of like listen to it at your own leisure, really. Like there's gonna be topics that are gonna be for some folks, and then there's gonna be topics that are gonna resonate with others, right? So knowing that like, hey, you know, this is something where if we cover one topic, never feel like we put that down for forever, because we can at any point just pick up right where we left off a season ago, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, whatever.
It ain't nothing. To really be honest, man, we could continue something from season 1 and bring it back. I truly believe. So,
oh yeah, to let a new Dragon Ball movie come out. Listen, bro.
Season 1 Redux edition.
Now with whole new takes, like
exactly.
It'd be crazy, but we could easily, right? So yes, it did feel really good to be able to go into the Orochimaru versus the third Hokage. That's one of my favorite parts of Naruto in general.
Yes,
right. I spat so long about that one last week, but it really is just a game changer in terms of changing the levels of play in which you see how battles are engaged in that series.
Yes.
Everything after that is just trying to be on that same level, right? Like Naruto versus Sasuke the first time is on a huger level only because you've seen the third.
Yeah, you've seen that. And the stakes officially rise in the tuning exams. Like, you see somebody get crippled. We see a whole coup d'etat. You know, it's kind of
world leaders get killed. Like,
that's what right. It's a lot going on in that arc, which makes it amazing. The betrayal, it got a lot of great things to talk about. Maybe one day we really cover it in its all totality, but for now, I'm glad that we covered that side, because that fight is really, really important. I love it.
I feel really good with what we covered with it, especially just going into Orochimaru's background and its different influences towards that fight against the third Hokage. That story runs deeper than even what we covered at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. We could have gave you a deep analysis of Orochimaru in general. We just gave you just a tip of the iceberg. Like, he's for what it's worth, he's a very complex character in that series. And as far as villains go, I think between him and Madara, they're top 2. In my opinion.
Yeah. Honestly, it was very hard for me whenever we were making the list of villains for season 3, right? And we were going through and saying like which villains are gonna be on our list, and we were deciding the Naruto villain. Yes. I remember at first we were like, is it gonna be Orochimaru or is it Madara?
Yeah, like those are the only 2, to be honest, man. I mean, Madara edges out. But don't think Orochimaru is no slouch. Like, he definitely belongs there. It's just crazy because their roles kind of reversed, whereas Madara started off as good and became evil, whereas Orochimaru started off good, then evil, then seemingly good, for the sake of preserving the entire ninja world.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little dynamic. But I always love to cover Orochimaru. Like I said, just the hidden sound of like that's just an interesting set of characters that belong in that little village.
Very true. The part 1 iteration of Naruto's villains really stand out in the sense that like they're really trying to flesh out these characters, and there's so much mystery behind what the rest of the Naruto's ninja world looks like.
Yeah.
That these characters, even though they have very short stories, it's like, yo, like, wait. So what was your background?
Yeah, shoot. You look at Kimimaro, you like, huh? Because it's cool. Like that village is just comprised of teenage terrorists. So that's always raw to me.
It was so cool being able to see all those different threads that Orochimaru's character has throughout part 1.
Yes.
Very glad we were able to cover even just that first initial fight that he has, man. Yeah. But man, let me tell you, bro, like it seems like this is really villain season, just in terms of like so much going on right now. Right?
Yeah.
Like we talk about great fights on this podcast, but even in just like fiction in general around right now, like it seems like villains is kind of
they the hot commodity right now.
In any type of terms of media that you follow, right? Whether you watch movies, whether you're into like, you know, your Marvel type shows and movies and whatnot, or whether you're into, you know, long form TV shows, villains are
villains is cooking right now, man. Heroes is not it right now. Shout out My Hero Academia. we not I guess Heroes is not in style. Villains, I guess, are always going to be more interesting because you're meant to make them a little bit more complex than the pro tags and the good guys. So I see it. I see the vision.
Because while, like, you know, we are very much an anime podcast, live action anime, is my shit.
Yeah.
By live action anime, I mean the sport that happens within that square circle, brother. JOHN CENA is a fucking heel, nigga. JOHN CENA's a heel. Oh my god, bro,
that shook up. It's kind of
even in my big age, there are things with wrestling that will excite me and move me out my seat.
Yeah, it's never too late. And I was seeing the commotion, and I'm like, it's always good to throw something that's unexpected. I didn't expect him to go out like this. This is his last year.
For his last year, yeah.
Like, that's fire. They got something with that.
Yeah, because, you know, those of us that, you know what I'm saying, if you know, you old school in the game, you remember when he was a heel 20 plus.
Yeah, like 20.
Like, that was when he was a beginner.
Yeah, that was
pretty good as a heel, bro.
Yeah, he was really good. That annoying Vanilla Ice style. It was fire, but now it's
all different. This is not going to be that guy.
Yeah, it's not going to be that guy. That cookie cutterness ain't gonna be there. And you've seen what a heel Cena could do. Like you've seen in the Rey Mysterio match or 2006 When I Stand. Like you could see how he operates. Even when he cooking people in promos. Like he was big. I remember the last time I was really into WWE and just wrestling in general, when he had that feud with Roman Reigns, and he was cooking, boy. Like I felt like, damn. I'm like, this song is something really. Either he just feel like this for real, or he might just because he was baking him.
He was like, "You supposed to be the guy, man." I'm not seeing it. I'm not.
Can't even cut the promo and all that. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, man. That feud they had back in what was that? Like 2014, 20 something like that. Yeah, 2015.
2017, I believe.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah.
2017. 2017. That was the last year I really cared about wrestling like that. I ain't gonna lie. Everything was just perfect in motion.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good time in WWE and outside.
Yeah, just even
So much was happening.
So much, bro. Like I was really, really tapped in. I'm talking about, and we had so much. We still do have access to a lot, but like. I remember that was when the Real Hero Google Drive was available, so you could just watch every. Oh my God, Meltzer, you're going to hell for that, bro. The worst thing you ever did. The worst thing you ever did, man. But that was a great time. And I vividly remember WWE being super interesting at that time. That I really much tolerated everything that they had going on.
And honest to God, man, like, we always are gonna have different interests just across the board, but like to set the stage, man, you got The Rock as the final boss in WWE.
He's washed. I ain't gonna hold, bro.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like,
he's cooked good.
Like, The Rock coming back and cutting these 20-minute promos, not making no fucking sense, bro. I'm over it.
Yeah, he has Triple H in his business. And it's worse. It's worse because it looked like
circles.
He does talks in circles, and he just look like he sound like your uncle, like your drunk uncle at a cookout, man. You be telling him to go home. I can't take it serious, but he still got that mystique around him. So I guess he going what the kids say, aura. So he still got that aura.
He's telling Cody Rhodes last week, like, "Hey man, I want you sold. I want you to sell out, right? Like, I just want you to be my champion, right?" So this past Saturday at Elimination Chamber in WWE, Cody Rhodes basically responded to The Rock, telling him that, "Hey man, go fuck yourself. I gave my soul to the people forever ago, right?" John Cena had just won the Elimination Chamber to be the person that's going to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, right? So John Cena goes and embraces that, taps him up, gives him the little evil Cody Rhodes in the balls and just busts him upside the head.
Yeah,
dad's Rolex that he was getting. Man,
that's crazy. And I saw Travis Scott getting licks.
Yeah, man, Travis Scott slapped.
What are he doing there? What are you doing over there?
Like, I was the same shit. Like, man, hey, man,
get that man out there.
He's just standing in a corner, just sparking up.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
like,
I mean,
that's already insane.
But
you got John Cena holding down Cody Rhodes, and he just smack him upside the face.
Yeah, like that. I didn't expect that. But
I was like, what is going on?
To hit somebody with something that I know I wanted that for like over 2 decades.
Oh yeah.
At this point. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna just do my little brief clip watching on Twitter because everybody drops everything there. Like, you don't really have to even watch.
Oh yeah, you can easily follow wrestling without watching wrestling.
That's what I will forever do that. My brain cannot handle 2 to 3 hours of TV programming, especially wrestling TV programming. So I'm very much thankful for y'all who post GIFs and post little 15 a minute clips of the shows.
Y'all make it easy to follow.
Yeah, I hope y'all do that forever. I hope nobody strikes you down.
Yeah, for real. Like, y'all deserve to have them accounts up doing what you do, man.
Hell yeah.
But look, from live action anime to the real stuff, there's sickos everywhere.
Oh, hell yeah.
Everywhere. Okay? And in one particular anime, you got one of the sickest of all time. Because this week, we're diving into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, specifically part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Diamond is Unbreakable. And if you're familiar with Diamond is Unbreakable, you already know who the main big bad of that one is.
Yeah, you already, exactly. And
Yoshikage Kira.
Another villain that is better than Dio. I'm sorry, yo. Like,
I really think season 3, we really just which ones are going to be our favorite to talk about? Because we even talked about like, hey, Yoshikage Kira could fit this slot.
He could fit. It's everybody but Dio.
Yeah.
And Dio is like the start of all of this. So,
and
just
I love
to show,
Dio as a
I love Dio, but he just doesn't measure up. Like,
he doesn't.
Obviously, like, Araki, like, he just got better as a writer. And for each part that he moved up, I'm not even going to talk about part 5. We ignore that. But every time he goes up, the villains get better. The protagonists get better. So, I mean,
at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Dio is just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
what's Dio without the anime?
Yeah.
Like he might be a Kono Dio down merchant. I ain't gonna lie. People love his phrases, and I get it. Like a catchy catchphrase gonna keep you forever remembered.
Kono Dio does a lot of heavy lifting for Dio's coolness.
Shoot, Yada Yada does it for Jotaro too.
Yeah,
I throw dirt on anybody protagonist. Yeah, I said it. He a merchant. All these characters count, except for the ones that we're covering today.
Yeah, because let me tell you right now, when it comes to Yoshikage Kira in Diamond is Unbreakable, this is a man who committed some of the worst atrocities just to try to keep himself hidden.
Also, like, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. That, like, it's for something, like, when you start part 4, it doesn't feel like that threatening. It feels more like a slice of life villain of the week kind of series. And then we get to the nitty gritty with Kira, like, yo, it starts becoming very morbid. Like the last couple of chapters, oh my lord. Like it just feels all poor Hayato, bro. Like if you've read I wish I could get the experience of just reading back part 4 15 years ago,
all over again.
Yeah, man. I wish, because like, yo, man, it just felt like you're on the edge of the seat. What could you have possibly done? The whole, like, everything, it looked like it was over for pretty much everybody. I ain't gonna lie. Like that part, like whatever part 6 did, part 4 looked like it was trending in that way.
Because part 4 neatly wraps up so much in its story. And even just with having Jotaro involved in it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was his last hoorah.
Yeah, you really felt like, hey, yo, this is us writing that character out. But before we get into that, tune in after the break as we dive into Josuke Higashikata and Co. versus Yoshikage Kira in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable.
Something evil is lurking in this town.
In a gruesome chain of horrific incidents, the death count has risen to 7.
A catastrophic danger is closing in as we speak.
What the hell? Who let you in here?
Great. I'm in the mood for a brawl.
Back off if you know what's good for you.
This kid's power is unreal.
You think you've won, but he'll be here to butcher you into bloody pieces soon enough.
Who is he?
Oh, you'll find out. He's the one who gave me this power.
There's someone out there who can bestow the power of a stand?
My moment has finally arrived. Say goodbye to this world. You are not getting away!
If you want to piss me off, keep running!
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable. Premiering August 18th at 12:30.
You and your prissy-ass hair are getting ripped apart! Huh?
What the hell did you just say about my hair?
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
So, when it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, if you're familiar, we already know this is an anthology series. The first 6 parts covering the Joestar family's history throughout the original JoJo's Bizarre Adventure timeline. Then we have the 3 series that exist today in the alternate timeline that was created thereafter, right? But if we take things back just to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, This is the follow-up to the legendary Part 3 Stardust Crusaders. This was the follow-up to Jotaro's adventure across the globe, chasing around for Dio Brando as they were trying to reclaim any sort of vengeance that they could get for Dio taking Jonathan Joestar's body. Right? That entire plot line of parts 1 through 3 is all wrapped up already. So now JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is taking its journey into a new story while still being connected to that part, as we have Josuke Higashikata, the son of Joseph Joestar.
Which is ridiculous. Which is a ridiculous. When I first saw that, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Joseph cheating?
Joseph's the man from part 2, right? That took place in the early 1900s, right? So you're like, wait, his son? What do you mean? So you take in consideration that this is taking place in the early 90s, right? It just sounds very far-fetched. And like you said, Joseph Joestar is cheating? Because my man went through a whole lot just to wind up married, right? Let alone for him to be able to have any sort of family himself the first time, right? So to think that he's got a son all these years later is pretty wild.
Yeah, super wild. And I mean, shoot, people like to speculate why it happened. I'm not gonna play that guy, but you know, it's good to see. I have seen Joseph, one of my favorite pro tags in the whole series. It's cool to see him be a shell of himself.
And that's the wild thing, yes, because like we've seen him in part 3 on his Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? Like the old,
like what happened?
Man, now, you know, he was an old like adventurer type, you know what I'm saying? Sean Connery type, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like.
But now he's old with a cane, can barely hear, can barely make sense of anything. My man on his old senile time, right?
Yeah, man, yo, it's tough, man, to see one of your favorite characters. And this is what like JoJo loves, like this series loves. If you really like a pro tag, bro, I'm sorry. You ain't really, ain't no happies. It really ain't. There's not much happies at all. You might think there's a happy ending, but at the same time, when you look at it for what it is, it's always bittersweet.
This one has the happiest ending.
That's exactly.
You know, when you really think about how this one ends, like there's no like bittersweet to it.
Yeah. If everybody is okay, and
the bitter parts we've already gotten past, right?
That's true. Like they made sure,
like they've already moved past that, right? And now they feel like they've avenged it at that point, right?
Yes.
But to set the entire tone, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, takes place in Morioh Town. It's a small town where, like we mentioned already, in the beginning of the series, it definitely feels like it's like a stand user of the week sort of vibe. Like, you know, you've just got these high school students that they've got their stand powers, but they're trying to figure out how that connects to anything else going on, right? And eventually, like one small mystery winds up getting resolved, but then eventually a much bigger one.
Yeah.
Because there just so happens to be a serial murderer living in the town of Morioh by the name of Yoshikage Kira. This is a man who's twisted, like just
super damn twisted, dog. He's a sick freak.
He's a sick motherfucker, for sure. Like, first off, to anyone that goes around killing young women, like, that's already fucked.
Yeah, it's
already fucked up. But this man uses his stand power to be able to basically erase any evidence of his murderers, because he has the stand Killer Queen, which is basically able to create bombs.
Yes.
What makes him even more sick and twisted is that he collects the hands of his men.
Yeah, if they got pretty hands, man, you getting killed.
So eventually, around halfway through Diamond is Unbreakable, Josuke and his group of friends do come across Yoshikage Kira, as he's just killed a friend of theirs by the name of Shigechi. Once they come across this man, it becomes this immediate chase because Yoshikage Kira does not want to be known. Like, he wants to live a quiet life. Like, he goes out of his way to not be noticed, right? Like, he's the third best in his school scores, right? Like, he's never the best guy at work. He's always like someone who's just kind of dresses plain, right? Yeah. Even though he looks just like David Bowie, whatever, right? But like, it's JoJo's, right? Like, the most obvious person is always going to be the bad guy, but in their world, it's the most plain looking.
It's the most, super plain.
So eventually, there comes a point where Yoshikage Kira gets cornered, and he meets someone who has a stand power that basically can cosmetically change your face, right? By using the face of someone else's, right?
Yeah.
And so he, being Yoshikage Kira, brought in the body of Kosaku Kawajiri.
Yeah.
And he switched faces with this man. So now, after having killed the person who was able to perform that with their stand power, the ability to change his face, and him hiding out in the open, you've got a serial killer who's now taken the identity of another just plain businessman, like a plain salaryman. But this is a person who's got a wife and a kid.
Yeah, sick freak.
So Yoshikage Kira has to ingratiate himself into the Kawajiri family. However, my man's not so good at it.
Yeah, he kind of sucks at this family thing. He's trying his best. I mean, it doesn't get better until Stan evolves.
It's crazy. Basically, to make a long story short, at one point he kills a stray cat, and the stray cat, its soul winds up going into a plant.
Yeah,
that can now shoot air bubbles that will be important later on. So he keeps that stray cat's soul in that plant, is now a living stand, right? Because he's like, this is pretty weird, but
yeah,
like the thing like it reacts harshly to him, but at the same time, like it reacts only to sunlight. He keeps it hidden. It's a thing. It will be important later. I cannot move forward without bringing that up. Right. Eventually, my man Yoshikage Kira, as Kosaku Kawajiri, gets caught up.
Yeah,
because his son Hayato Kawajiri kind of catches on to the fact that there's some people that are looking for him, and then he's also spying on his father because he's like, Dad's not acting right.
Yeah, he's not acting right. This is not him.
This is not how he acts at all. Like, he's acting completely weird. And he catches on to the fact that Kira is a serial killer that is trying to hide his identity. One day in the house, Hayato decides, yo, I'm just gonna corner you because I don't really like how you moving with my mom. I don't like how you just taking my dad's identity. I know for a fact that
you ain't him.
You're not my dad. And Kira, in this corner that he's been backed into, kills Hayato
on some sick freak nonsense.
Blows him up with his stand. He's like, oh shit, I just blew up the kid. Honey, I blew up the kid, right? So to make matters even more intricate, Yoshikage Kira's father is a ghost that exists within the portrait of a Polaroid picture, and his father's hovering over him in this Polaroid picture, like, yo, son, like, what are you gonna do?
What are you doing? That was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
And then yo, Kira's just freaking out, bro.
Biting all of his nails on his hand, and his hand's like, I ain't seen you worried like this since you was a kid, bro. Like, you were backed into a corner really, really bad. And earlier in the series, it's made known to us that Yoshikage Kira has ownership of an arrow. The arrow has the ability with the arrowhead that was broken off from a Morioh ear. That's a whole different story.
Yeah, it's a whole exactly.
If you survive being stabbed by this arrowhead, you can get a stand.
Wheel of Fortune ass.
Now, Kira already has a stand, and this arrow slips out of the picture that his father's soul is in. Again, it's JoJo's bizarre.
It's bizarre.
JoJo's normal adventure, okay? And the arrow slides into Kira's arm, and it stabs him. And they're like, wait, he's already got a stand. What does this even mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I was confused.
You're easily confused seeing this, right? Like, even as the reader, you're like, what the fuck could this possibly mean?
Yeah, 2 stands. First, okay, I know we seen Hamon, like Hamon was like the first.
Yeah.
Right. That's fine. And we see, Joseph develop his stance. So I'm like, all right, cool. 2 stuff. Separate things. 2 stands though? Huh? That's what we do?
That's definitely where it seems like we're going with it, right? Because in an immediate rush, my man's body just gets zapped into like a hole, and then time reverses.
Yes.
Back to the beginning of that day.
Yeah.
Hayato is alive again.
Which is insane. That, again, threw me for a loop. And this is the first time essentially that JoJo hit me for a loop. Part 1 through 3, not really too crazy, but this was where okay, now I really get the whole super bizarre adventure.
Because this is the first time where something's happening and it's not obvious at first.
Yeah, it's all crazy. You don't see this level of craziness till part 6.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's a lot why part 4 is my favorite part still to this day. Yes. Right? Just the way that this handles everything is insane. So at this point, we have now set the stage where Kira somehow has been able to reverse time.
Yeah, who the hell he think he is?
And Hayato, we're now seeing the story from Hayato's point of view, right? And these weird little occurrences happen while he's at home, but he leaves and he's like, I don't know what happened last night in the house with Dad, but somehow I'm alive.
Yeah, it's all off.
And he realizes that there are people that are looking for Yoshikage Kira as well, and that happens to be Josuke Higashikata and his friends as well, right? The first person that we come across is Rohan Kishibe,
the artist,
the manga artist himself, right? The self-insert character himself, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, Rohan Kishibe comes across Hayato, recognizing Hayato eventually as the child in the picture that was taking a picture of Yoshikage Kira. They have a picture where they're trying to figure out who Kira's hiding as, but they see this kid who's clearly following someone else, and they're like, we don't know who he's hidden himself as, but the kid has to fucking know, right?
Yeah.
So Hayato backs off. He's like, I can't tell you that.
Yeah, you can. If I say it, it's over.
I can't tell you nothing because he's afraid that his father's stand, Yoshikage Kira's stand, will take form, and that Killer Queen can just blow them up, right? And
Yes.
basically, my man Rohan Kishibe has this stand that can look into your soul, and it can read all of your memories like pages in a manga. So he decides, you know what? Since I can't get anything out of this kid, why don't I use my stand right now? Right? And uses Heaven's Door to be able to read Hayato's memories. And there's one page where it says, don't go any further.
Yeah, don't go any further. Yoshikage Kira is not dad.
And when he flips the page, it says, Rohan Kishibe dies at such and such time on such and such day. And that time is right then. And he sees Killer Queen as a bomb come out of the page. And he realizes that, because he's thinking Killer Queen is coming at him.
Yeah.
So Killer Queen is in his sight. It's in his eye. And it blows him up.
Another one bites the dust.
Because now Yoshikage Kira has the ability, bites the dust. It's a new ability added to his stand, Killer Queen, that allows him to rewind time and erase anyone who discovers his identity.
Bro got DLC on his stand. Like, how are you supposed to go at this, man? There's some video game esque stand going on. Like, it reminds me of Dio, The World Over Heaven from
Eyes of Heaven.
Eyes of Heaven. Yeah, like it's like right now Kira's on broken timing. Completely broken.
And that's the thing, is that, you know, even in this, you know, initial moment, Rohan Kishibe, he's killed, but Josuke Higashikata, Jotaro Kujo, my man Koichi, my man Okuyasu, they're all about to meet up to go look for Kira and actually try to find the kid that's in the picture to his Hayato. And they come across Hayato in this moment, and they're like, yo, aren't you that kid from the picture? And Hayato's realizing he can't speak, he can't say a word.
Yeah.
And it's like Kira even comes up saying, like, it doesn't matter whether
it doesn't matter, like,
or not.
Man's holding a knife to his throat, man. He ready to go. It's an 11-year-old, by the way. And he's trying his best, and it's still like he tells him, yo, it's pointless, mudada.
And no matter what happens, even if they ask about his identity, it will cause them to explode. And right there we see it with Josuke and Koichi, they explode, right?
Yeah.
And time immediately reverts to that morning before. Now, Hayato is like, wait,
is this a dream?
Is this a dream? Because he doesn't realize that time is reverted at this point, right? He just realizes that something is off. But Yoshikage Kira definitely is aware that time has been reverted. And he's like, oh, someone must have found out. And he basically explains his entire deal with how his power works to Hayato, and explains it doesn't matter what you do or what you say. If they find out about me from you,
it's over.
It's going to kill the people that are trying to protect you. And so we get this second go around where these powers then take effect again. And so then we go to a third go around. And I would like to actually assume that more happened than what we see, right? Yeah. Like I would think that it took more than just like, oh, it took 3 times and then finally we got it.
Yeah.
I think it's more that like the idea is that this power kept working And then like he just never got everybody.
Yeah, it's just a repeat until the actual plan takes place.
And the idea is that, you know, all of Josuke and Ko's team would die from making the fatal mistake of believing that, you know, this just asking about Kira is going to make sure that he dies, right? Well, eventually it comes to a point where every time in this basis, there's like a specific set of events that happens, right? Hayato goes in the kitchen. His mother asks him to drink the tea. The glass breaks. Then the phone rings. It winds up being a wrong number. They don't know who's calling, anything like that, right? Like these certain events happen over and over, right? So at this time, Hayato specifically picks up the phone and acts like he's answering the phone, right? And Kira is noticing like, oh, the kid's acting kind of like confident. Like the kid kind of seems like he's like he kind of got a grip on things. But you know what? I ain't worried about it because my power by Sedes is going to make sure I'm covered no matter what. So Kira, on his bully, decides, you know what? Fuck this kid. This time I'm gonna follow him to school. And I'm gonna tell him just like, look, you know what? There's nothing you can do about it.
Overconfident as hell, man.
And he literally like goes into this entire speech, like revealing that he's Yoshikage Kira, right? Like, yeah,
he pulled the metal cooler,
saying like, you know, like there's nothing you could do to stop my plan, right? Like fate is on my side. Because at this point, like he's really believing like, yo, like fate made sure that I survived and that this whole thing where I accidentally killed you, that even got undone, right? And now I'm able to rewind time to where once all Josuke and his little friends ask about me, they're all gonna die, and that's it. I can just go on about life perfectly hidden from their point on.
Yes.
It just turns out that my man Hayato had made a call that morning to Josuke Higashikata because each time he noticed, okay, Josuke kind of wakes up late, like he shows up a little bit after everybody. So this time he was like, in order to make sure he doesn't show up late, I'm gonna call him and I'm gonna tell him, yo, you need to come meet your friends at this exact time right now. It's very important.
Some mastermind planning for an 11-year-old, and it's really why Hayato's probably one of my favorite characters.
Same,
like he's cool. All the kid characters, like honestly, Emporio, There's something about they always give off that good vibe.
The kid characters always are like wind up being really helpful. Like even that what was it, Survivor in part 3?
Oh yeah.
Like even like the kid there, like even like she's having to deal with a weird monkey and shit. Like she was helpful in her own way in that little short. So yeah, you're right. Like the kid characters always do play a really great role. And I was glad to see that Hayato was just so cunning in this fight. Because even this moment is just really the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
In Kira gloating, he does mention his name a couple of times, and suddenly you just see Josuke walk up and goes, "Hang on,
what? Did
you say Yoshikage Kira? Because I'm pretty sure you just said the name that you are Yoshikage Kira." And he made the grave mistake of underestimating Hayato, assuming that his time loop ability would be foolproof, right? So at this point now, Josuke, being the laid back guy that he is, right? He engages in battle with Kira, but Kira has bites the dust activated on this kid, and basically he can only use his stand one at a time. He can either use this Killer Queen to create bombs, or using bites the dust with the kid with the time ability. So in order to protect himself, he releases Bites the Dust, and now we're at the battle.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great moments that happen throughout this entire battle that really set this one apart from Jotaro versus Dio for me, right? Jotaro versus Dio is really cool because you have like time stop being used and like these different sorts of like ways that they're using their power one-on-one to one-up each other, right? In this end, though, you got Josuke using really dope tricks like Crazy Diamond, his stand's ability to be able to repair any sort of like matter and being able to heal people, like it works in these really dope combos.
Yes,
right.
Actually,
because Kira, he uses the power of that stray cat that I mentioned earlier. That the plant is able to shoot out these air bubbles, right? That you can't see, and just on impact, those air bubbles can sting and damage someone. Imagine if now you've got Killer Queen mixing its bomb powers with those air bubbles. It comes to a point where in this fight where it becomes very difficult for them to fight against Yoshikage Kira because he's basically throwing invisible air bombs.
Yeah, which is insane.
Right. There's a moment where you've got characters like Okuyasu where it looks like he's gonna get killed, right? Because in his trying to help Josuke, he uses the hand to try to, pull these bombs away. But if you're moving with bombs you can't see, you might accidentally bring one towards yourself, and that is an accident that he makes during that battle. To a point where it even looks like he's almost dead because Josuke tries to heal him, but
it's not working.
Is his body turned into a bomb? Can I even touch him? Right?
Yeah.
All these different events come into play where this battle it's less of these characters using these really cool moves and more of this chess piece sort of battle where it's like, how can I make sure that Yoshikage Kira isn't using a bomb that I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
And you have to take into consideration the fact that his father in this soul, in this portrait, is able to sort of like fly around and trick where people are at by using their locations to use a phone that he's got access to call Kira and be like, hey, yo, they're right here. Like, send your bombs at this area, right? So with all that whole stage set, man, like what were some of your favorite parts of this fight? Like, what are some of the moments that like really stuck out to you in Josuke and all of his friends and in his nephew Jotaro?
Yeah, his great
character, Kira, man. Like, what were some of the parts that stand out for you the most?
Hayato literally running to the bomb. Like,
yeah,
it's an 11-year-old man. Like, he's full for the sake of saving folks that he don't even know. That's it's really gutsy. I did also like I would say I like the gutsy fake out in a sense. I mean, he's dead, and then he wakes up. I had a dream essentially, and you see Josuke crying. I really like that.
The fact that he was able to use the hand to move.
That was like a crazy reveal. Yeah, that was a super crazy reveal. Jotaro hitting that famous line he says about Koichi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are really a dependable guy.
And that's one thing I want to bring up too, right? It's just Koichi and Jotaro really seal the deal at the end of this fight.
Yes.
Right. Like they made sure like my man got done in. But even along the way, right, it's really sick seeing that Jotaro and Koichi are able to lend in their abilities.
Yes.
Because it really seemed like at first, man, like Hero's gonna have them all done in.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, this is the most morbid part so far. Like I didn't get the vibe in part 2 and 3. This feels like the villain about to do everybody in, bro.
This is wild because what we're looking at is these characters all having to fight against one man who's basically just trying to hide his identity as a serial killer.
Yeah, some that's the fire's angle to take, and it made for an enjoyable read.
It really did. It really did. I thought it was cool because this is something where the story isn't so much about his actions as a serial killer, but it's about him like trying to protect the fact that he's been hidden for 20 plus years in this town. And he's just like, yo, the guy just wants to keep up the status quo.
He really did.
I thought it was really dope in how like you have these different abilities fighting against each other. Josuke, for being this like really laid back and like chill character, he's probably one of the smartest JoJo's.
Yeah, he's definitely is, man. He uses his noggin, and I love his stand. I love
Crazy Diamond is so cool.
That's so cool, bro.
At first, it's just like, oh, it has the ability to repair things, and you just think of that as simple. But like, it comes down to even the most like minute levels. Like at one point, Josuke uses his own dried up blood into having Kira attack a different location.
It's crazy.
And like uses his blood to cut through a bomb to slices in half. He's able to damage the ground, to bring up concrete into a wall to work as a barrier between him and one of Kira's bombs. He's able to use like broken glass
shot, like the wood splinters, all sorts of stuff. Like, bro, for part 3, everybody loves the Jotaro Dio fight. I'm be honest, I really don't care for it like that. But this one, like, they're using their noggin, super noggin. Like, this is the most strategical fight that we've seen in the series, bar none.
And it's wild because this goes down this entire route where it very much looks like, you know what, this is gonna go in Kira's way.
Yeah, like fate is on his side.
Because as the fight is coming to an end, right? Like he's been like knocked out and he's been like knocked back, but an ambulance pulls up.
What a way to go out, man.
And a doctor comes over to him and they're like, oh fuck, like he's gonna use that doctor as a bomb and he's gonna use Bites the Dust to go back in time. And like this doctor comes up to ask him if he needs help, and basically the way it plays out when we first see it is that he's like, fuck it, Bites the Dust,
Bites the Dust.
And then this detonation goes off, and then we see Kira standing in an alleyway. We're led to believe that the battle has ended and that my man has won. He's reversed time. He's been able to escape.
Yeah.
Only problem is that
that boy dead.
Fate was not on his side.
That boy dead.
As Kira is visited by the ghost of a young girl who was one of his previous victims.
Mm-hmm.
You see, this man has been killing people for so long, he doesn't even remember all the people he's killed. And Raimi, one of his previous victims, she's been able to keep her soul sort of like in limbo, right? She exists in this area that's like a haunted alleyway, right? And Raimi Sugimoto lives in this one space. And Kira's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. I mean, I got 48 bodies.
Yeah.
Who are you, man?
Are you some new stand user? Like, you're just trying to challenge me? And she puts her hand through his chest and she's like, no, man. Look at how my hand just went through you. This is not the work of a stand. You're dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're clear.
And there we see the scene switch back. Right as my man was about to use Bites the Dust, Koichi uses Echo's Act 3 to have Kira's hand get slowed down, the intense gravitational pull, pulling his arm right to the ground. My man can't do anything. He's trying to pull his fingers back together to try to snap to do Bites the Dust. And Jotaro Kujo is like, whew. Good, just in time, man. Freezes time, uses Start Platinum the World, and does a full aura blast. Not only on my man's face, but like turning his hand into mush, making sure he can't do nothing, and he blows him away into this ambulance area where the doctor's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And my man, Josuke, I'm sorry, my man.
Yeah,
my man Yoshikage Kira is saying one of the nastiest, wildest lines of all time. Talking about how back when he was a child, he saw the Mona Lisa and he got off to it, and how he's saw hands and all this shit, and how he's like, "Yo, lady, just like help me. I promise. Like, yeah, I'll love you and all this shit." And then suddenly an ambulance backs up. It runs over Yoshikage Kira into his life. A little anticlimactic, but it couldn't have been better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, instead of being killed in the battle, the fact that she got just ran over by an ambulance, like, it's like, no, look, your evil wasn't gonna be able to go on for forever.
Yeah, man, but no, true. The whole town won this one. That's not really a personal villain. Like, that's not Josuke's personal villain, like, at all. He's really a menace to the whole town. So for him to get booked by the ambulance, it's anticlimactic, yes, but it fits perfect, 100%.
And honestly, I really am a big fan of how this all plays out in the anime and in the manga. Though I will say personally, I think David Production did a little bit better in handling how these events played out.
I like the fight scenes more in the manga than
I like the fight scenes more, but I like how they kind of drug on the suspense of like, oh my God, is he gonna really fucking get away with this?
Yeah. I think, in a way, you gotta hit that. You gotta use that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you looking at it from the 90s to the 2000s point of view. Like, this is a weekly series, so that anticipation is kind of like, okay, next week we'll get that. This is a little bit easier to build anticipation with the manga as opposed to an anime. So David Production, they did their best. They did their best, absolutely.
And this is one of those where, you know, the adaptations, no matter which one you get into, it really plays out really well. I'm very excited to be able to see this fight in any format, but running it back in the anime is really, really dope. Though the manga, man, I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's hard, man. That art, it's hard to replicate, man. And don't get it twisted. David Productions, very, like, they did their thing, but like, that's a godly art. That's God body art, man. It's hard to replicate, especially the colored pages. Oh Lord, yeah, it's kind of tough, but they did their best.
And personally, I really admire how this entire fight plays out, just because it's one of those where, like, yeah, a huge fight can take out a villain, but sometimes you just gotta see somebody get theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you gotta, like, the luck of the draw, man.
And that's exactly what this played out to, was that my man's time was coming. And no matter what he tried to do, thinking that fate was on his side, man, it absolutely wasn't.
Yeah, for a man that could rewrite time for this Dan, yeah, eventually that was gonna come around and hit you back. So it's a nice little full circle.
It really, really was, man. As great of a villain as he was, and as twisted as he was, like, there was just nothing that was gonna keep him from his own fate.
Yeah, Kara got it, man. And the reason why I love Part 4, man, and it's so crazy because you see like series try to replicate it. Like, I play Persona, and Persona 4 is the most obvious tribute to Part 4 of JoJo without question. Same theme, same series, it's same everything. Telephone lines being same everything. And just to see that impact, that is beautiful. Transcended.
I think that, you know, Part 4 is the greatest of the original works, personally, right? If we're talking
for
original
me,
6.
It's a man. 2 and 4 be going head to head for me, man.
Real talk, my man was good with them even numbers, because 2, 4, and 6, they sit there as like, man, he's got it, man. He was in his fucking bag.
Yeah, he got it. The odd numbers, shoot, I like 1.
I like 1.
Even though I like 1.
3 is not bad.
I 3 is not bad. 5.
I'm gonna put it to you like this. When I was reading the manga like about like 10, 11 years ago, I read Part 4 in 2 days, bro. Because I couldn't put it down.
Yeah, very
I was just
fire.
like, oh my God, this shit is fire. I got to Part 5 and it took me a week and a half. Because I was just like, this is kind of a chore. Like,
man.
Watching Part 5, the anime was a saving grace for Part 5, for sure. Yeah. Because like watching Part 5 is like, okay, I can get through this. Whereas reading Part 5, like there was times I would put it down and just be like, man,
bro, we had them, man.
And don't even get me started on like what the original
God
look like, bro.
Oh my gosh,
we couldn't make heads or tails of nothing.
Vento Ario fan skins? Garbage. Garbage. I think it made it work. I can't. I don't even like. I tried the anime and I'm like, you know what? It's just hard to get rid of that bad stench. Like, it was just a terrible time to like to be in hip with JoJo. Very terrible time. This ain't, you know, they did their best, you know. Whoever, I don't even know who exactly translated that part, but they did their best. Unfortunately, the scans were awful. The final villain is convoluted as hell. That stand makes no sense.
Diablo's stand, really, and that's another thing, right? Where I say like, yo, nah, the anime is doing it favors, because seeing that in motion makes it make more sense.
Cause Diavolo in the manga, that is like I said, man. Part 5, it looks it's dark. I ain't gonna lie, not the good kind of dark either.
Yeah. There's parts where Part 5 is just like, oh man, like what we got going on here?
I hate the pro tag too. Like, I don't give a. Like the anime made him better because he is. Like,
in the manga, he don't do much.
You feel like he's just like
potential man, bro.
He's exactly potential. Oh, the real villain. Oh yeah, he's Tio's son. Oh yeah, it's not doing nothing for him really. Be very honest with you. I can't get jiggy with him. He's one of the I prefer Jotaro over Giorno, and
that's just Dirty Harry.
yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, man. Thank God we never talk about Part 5. That's up there with some of my most uncomfortable binge reading.
Yeah. Part 5, it's one of those where it's like, yo, yeah, I got through it to get through my JoJo's, right? But like, I only went back to it because of the anime. I can't say I would have ever read it again. It just wasn't.
And the ending sucks.
And the ending is just like, okay, and then all those things happen. The end.
It sucks, man. Part 4, gas.
That's where JoJo's is really.
Part 5, oil with water.
Yeah,
I don't know what he was cooking, bro.
Yeah, no, oiled with water is the best way to explain it. Like part 5 is just like we're trying, and things ain't sticking. But look, that all being said, we really have enjoyed being able to get into this fight with Yoshikage Kira and Josuke Higashikata. These two, and not even just the two of them, right? Everyone that helped out Josuke along the way is very much involved with this fight. Like it's Josuke and Ko.
Yeah, it's the whole town, baby.
Yeah, for sure. So very glad we are able to cover this battle. It's another one that, to me, I can always dive back into and be like, yeah. You can get into the battle. The more I watch the battle, it makes me want to just start the whole part 4. Yeah, because like it is like this battle is the culmination of everything, and it kind of does like rely on you knowing so much that's happened beforehand, but it still is enjoyable.
Yeah, you'll still get the pace. Like you get, once you hit that certain threshold where basically Kira, obviously exposes his hand, he kills Hayato the first time. Yeah, it's like, okay, you can understand what they're trying to do. And so it's easy to binge.
It's very easy to binge, and it's very enjoyable. Like just
yeah, man, it got everything. Like I said, the first couple of episodes, cool. It's a slice of life as hell,
and a time loop done right.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know.
It's done so clean. Like it's like, okay, this is the time loop, and then this is where it breaks, and then boom, like it's just like, okay, cool, and then like none of that, anything that happened in the loop don't matter because now we're in a whole new like boom. It's easy to explain, easy to understand.
How you have it so good in part 4 and in part 5 is just. Yo, Rocky was on drugs when he made part 5.
Part 5 is about like, hey, drug dealers are bad people.
Yeah, man, he was on that acid trip.
Him some fucking boof when he went to Italy.
Yeah, man. I don't know who gave him acid between part 5 and part 6. He got some good shrooms for part 6 because that ending is ridiculous. Part 5, they gave him a bad trip.
You have to be on that good to write the ending for fucking part 6, my boy.
Part 6, man. What did he I mean, we did cover a bit with the Poochie episode, but man, it's hard. Man. That last couple 10 chapters, ooh.
You gotta be like locked in with the concepts for real. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, huh?
Bro, it's like, man, to end up the original timeline like that's gutsy.
It is. And the fact that it pulled off, it was pulled off so well. Like,
yeah, so well.
Only Araki, man. Only Araki.
Yeah, he got it, man. And part 7, for those who have never read it, when it eventually does get animated, please don't hate CGI because it's obviously going to be CGI.
It's going to need it.
But you're going to realize why everybody says it's one of the greatest anime.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's gas.
Johnny is dope. That is stands apart from all 6.
That's the greatest thing I've read. Like, for manga, like, it's up there with Berserk and guaranteed. Like, it's an upper echelon of manga. I don't know what he was on, but he was cooking.
It's really good that he spent as long on Steel Ball Run.
Yeah, it took us a minute. I mean, it's still like, shoot, part 8 take a minute too.
That was like 12 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, man, we got a whole decade's worth of it. But you take your time with your craft. It pays off. That's why I be telling people, relax with the whole Hunter x Hunter stuff because you're gonna get good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Eventually, this will wrap up and be something that's very, very concise. That all being said, man, listen, we both love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as long as the day is and as long as it goes. Yep. But all good things must come to an end, and thus this session must. So we appreciate y'all tuning in as we covered JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the end of Diamond is Unbreakable. Be sure to tune in next week for the season finale.
Ooh, baby.
That's right. It's going to be one of our biggest episodes ever because we're not covering one fight next week. We're covering two. Two
baby.
Fights with the same dudes. We're going into Goku versus Vegeta in the Saiyan saga. And we're going to be comparing and contrasting that to Goku versus the Prince of Destruction Vegeta in the Majin Buu saga. But we will not be alone.
Oh, yeah, we got guests, baby.
That's
we got
right.
guests.
You can look forward to us having the animated mind on. And for the first time ever, Subslide Dubslide gets locked and betrayed.
We stuck in the room of spirit of time, baby.
Stuck in the room of spirit of time with Smug Stick, man. So make sure y'all tune in next week. It's gonna be an amazing one as we have two of my favorite Dragon Ball YouTubers, two of my favorite Dragon Ball content creators tuning in with us as we tap into these amazing, legendary Dragon Ball battles.
Man, it's like true. You going back to our old roots. God damn.
That's right. You will not want to miss next week. I promise you, it's going to be an amazing episode. It's going to be Dragon Ball Daima talk. Now that that's all wrapped up, we're going to get into, the histories with these two creators, their experiences with the Dragon Ball. There's going to be so much for you guys to learn into. We're going back to the original wheelhouse as we close out season 5. So make sure y'all tap in next week.
Yes, sir.
But until then, subs lie, dubs lie. We never have and we never fucking will.
We definitely never will, man.
Listen, man, we only are here to bring y'all the greatest and the best and the coolest and the legitest. That's all we on, damn it.
Yeah, that's what we ever gonna do, man. We had no choice but to do that.
It's us. Never them, man.
Never them, man. Y'all know the deal.
Y'all tune in next week. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Yips. Holla at ya, boys.